Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'll be sharing a story with you. The movie begins with a sad and lonely man named Bo Quinn, who can be seen attempting to end his own life. But just then his phone rings, so he decides to put his demise on hold and picks it up. Turns out the person on the line is the owner of the current apartment he's in. The owner tells him that his hour is up for the room and he would need him to pay an extra $20 to stay another hour. Not willing to pay extra money to murder himself, he rudely hangs up and swallows a bunch of pills. He soon feels the effect of these pills and faints to the ground. Just then, the owner comes in to request that payment and he sees him on the ground. He immediately saves him, ruining Bo Quinn's plans of offing himself. So the next day, Bo Quinn tries to do this again by jumping into a lake. But the police rescue him and take him to the hospital. Now at the hospital, Bo Quinn wakes up disappointed for failing to murder himself once again. Just then he sees a man beside him smoking, so he tells him smoking isn't allowed here. But the mysterious man ignores him. Just then a nurse comes over and tells Bo Quinn that he isn't allowed to smoke here, confusing Bo Quinn. As nurses wheel him out, he asks one of them to get rid of this strange man beside him. But the nurse sees nothing, so they take him to the psychiatrist. Now the psychiatrist starts asking about his invisible friend and if this friend is the one telling him to murder himself. But our boy tells the doctor that he'd only seen this man today and had just met him. But just then he hears a woman crying and asks the doctor if he hears it too. So the doctor gives him a diagnosis of being mentally unsound with two invisible friends. He continues asking Bo Quinn about his friends, but distracted by the sounds of a woman crying in the cupboard, he heads towards it and opens the cupboard. He sees a young woman crying and Bo Quinn immediately confronts the doctor about her. But the doctor sees nothing, so he quickly calls for security to take this agitated Bo Quinn away and put him in a ward. Now later that night, Bo Quinn gets out of bed to go to the bathroom. But as he does, he sees an old man staring at a pretty nurse's assets while he blows her documents on the ground. He then notices Bo Quinn staring at him, so his head grows in size, which scares him off. When he gets back to his room, Bo Quinn is shocked to see the three invisible people he had met earlier floating in his room. They tell him that they're ghosts, and all three of them will be sharing his body to experience the real world. But their presence causes Bo Quinn to faint and he falls to the ground. Now the next morning, the doctors find him on the floor and ask him what happened. However, Bo Quinn, before he can answer him, sees a small boy jumping on a bed and realizes that he now has four ghosts following him. He then lies to the doctors that he isn't seeing any more friends and gets discharged. He quickly goes to visit a psychic and asks him to get rid of these ghosts so he can finally murder himself. But the psychic tells him that he'll not be able to take his own life until he gets rid of the ghosts around. Not knowing how to exactly get rid of his new friends, he tries to live his life as per usual, but it doesn't go too well, as even the simplest tasks like walking is difficult for him. In the following days, the ghosts start using his body to do things that they've missed in the real world, such as smoking, drinking alcohol, eating junk food, and even crying. But all these bad habits start making Bo Quinn sick, so he scolds them for making him this way. However, the ghosts ignore him. Now one night, Bo Quinn finds his home icy cold, which gives him frostbite when he touches the walls. Unable to take the constant inconvenience of these ghosts, he goes to the psychic once again. The psychic tells him that cold temperatures are a sign of the ghosts seeking revenge, so in order to make them leave, he needs to help them resolve their problems. So later on, Bo Quinn goes to the ghosts and begs them to leave him alone. He promises to help them with whatever they need help with, so the ghosts tell him their desires. The old man ghost tells him that he wants his camera back, so Bo Quinn allows him to possess his body. Now the old ghost then goes find this other old guy and asks for his camera back, but of course the old guy doesn't recognize him and asks him to leave him alone. But determined to help the old ghost, Bo Quinn goes to the old guy to ask him nicely for the camera back. But turns out the old guy's a cop who's on a stakeout, making him now angry as Bo Quinn had just ruined his investigation, so he locks him up in jail. Now in jail, the old ghost possesses Bo Quinn and starts revealing embarrassing secrets about the cop, so with no choice, the cop gives him the camera. The old ghost then goes to find his old friend where they have a meal together. A possessed Bo Quinn then passes the camera to him, but just then, he sees a pretty nurse and goes to hit on her. After that, Bo Quinn scolds the old ghost for hitting on the girl without his permission and leaves. At this time, the old friend starts playing around with his old camera and smiles with gratitude. So the next day, Bo Quinn goes to fulfill the wish of the small boy ghost by bringing him to watch his favorite movie. But just then, he sees the pretty nurse from earlier and talks to her. The nurse says hi to him but doesn't say much else and leaves with the boy. After the movie, the small boy ghost possesses Bo Quinn and they go to eat a bunch of noodles. This fascinates the boy with the pretty nurse, so the boy challenges the possessed Bo Quinn to eat more. However, after the meal, the pretty nurse, whose name is Yun Soo, tells him that he shouldn't eat that much in front of the boy she's with, because he's a cancer patient from the hospital, and eating that much might set a bad example for him. Yun Soo then leaves with the boy. Now at night, Bo Quinn and the smoker ghost go to rob a warehouse full of cars. As Bo Quinn's sneaking around, the owner of the place catches him stealing, so he chases him down with a car. After running for a while, Bo Quinn asks his ghost friend to protect him. He then suddenly stops in the middle of the road, almost getting hit. He tells the owner that he's haunted by a ghost and proves to him by asking the smoker ghost to freeze up the windscreen. Bo Quinn then begs the owner to give him a car, and he agrees. The next day, Bo Quinn and the smoker ghost leave with the car. The smoker ghost, who's delighted, drives them both to a beach, and the ghost forces Bo Quinn to swim. Together with the other spirits, they have a great time at the beach. Now as days are passing, Bo Quinn starts bonding with his ghost friends, where they share a giant candy together and go shopping. Now one day while driving, Bo Quinn and Smoker Spirit get pulled over by the cops for throwing a cigarette out the car. The police then realize that Bo Quinn doesn't have a license, so he takes him to the station for questioning. However, the police get frightened when they see Bo Quinn talking to himself. Thinking he's all crazy, they ask him to call someone to bail him out. And because Bo Quinn's an orphan with no one in his life, he calls Yun Soo. She comes down, picks him up, and drives him home, and the two share a moment together, developing feelings for one another. The following day, Bo Quinn asks the female ghost what's her wish. She tells him that she just wants to cook dinner for people she cares about, so she possesses him and invites Yun Soo. But just then, Yun Soo's father, who's a patient, starts questioning her about Bo Quinn. But she scolds her father and asks him to return to his room. Bo Quinn then tells her that she shouldn't speak to her father that way, but she tells him to stay out of her life and leaves. Later that evening, Yun Soo's father goes to find Bo Quinn. Turns out Yun Soo's father had passed away and wants to deliver his final message to his daughter through Bo Quinn. So our boy goes to find Yun Soo and tells her that he can speak to ghosts and that her father had come to find him. But she doesn't believe him, thinking that he's crazy, and asks him to leave. The next morning, Bo Quinn brings the female ghost to shop for groceries to fulfill her wish, and that night, she prepares a feast. But just then, Yun Soo shows up and asks if she can join his dinner alone, and he agrees. During dinner, he tells Yun Soo the final message from her father. He tells her that her father had left her something on the roof of the hospital and apologizes for not being a good father. But still being skeptical, she begins asking him if he can truly talk to ghosts. He tells her he can, but this doesn't go well, with Yun Soo thinking he's still lying. And she tells him that she doesn't think she can date a man who talks to ghosts, and leaves. After she's gone, a heartbroken Bo Quinn blames the ghost for ruining his chance at love, and he asks the spirits to leave him alone because he's already completed all their requests. He then storms into his room for the night. The next morning, Bo Quinn wakes up to an empty apartment with no ghosts in sight. Elsewhere, Yun Soo goes to the roof to check if there really is something left for her. She finds a pair of shoes given by her father and weeps in sadness. Later, Bo Quinn goes to find her for lunch. He then tells her that the spirits are all gone and he's now ready for a relationship. He confesses his feelings for her, and the two get together. Just then, Yun Soo asks him how he makes such nice sushi. That's when he tells her that his mom was the one who taught him how to make it. Suddenly, a surge of memories return to him, visions of his mother. He realizes that the female ghost is actually his mom. He quickly starts running back home to find her, but as he does, he starts remembering that the smoker ghost is his father, and the old man ghost is his grandfather, and the small boy ghost is his brother. It's then revealed that when Bo Quinn was young, he got into a car accident with his family where everyone passed away except for him. And when the police arrived, they found his grandfather's camera and took it away as evidence. Bo Quinn then finally realized that he had lost his memory during the accident. Soon he returns home and quickly calls out for his family to return. Suddenly he sees his brother running past him, and slowly his family members start appearing around him. They all apologize for leaving him when he was young and asks him to live on with his life and treasure it. As the months pass by, we can see Bo Quinn happily married to Yun Soo, and the movie ends with his ghostly family with him in the pictures. Always a pleasure having you guys around. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you had a good time today, and get ready for the next one.